Hey Canucks fans, a lot of goalie news around the NHL today. Maybe the Canucks won't be that far behind. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Saturday, October the 3rd. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. I hope you're doing well, that you're gearing up for a good weekend. For me, not too much studying, a little bit of studying and not much work. I did some work last night, but I'm looking forward to some family time this weekend as well as catching up on some church stuff as well. So let's catch up on some NHL news. Woke up to the news of at least 3 goaltender signings, and they don't directly affect the Vancouver Canucks, but at least I think we can draw some conclusions and some analysis out of a couple of them. The first one, the biggest one, is Robin Lehner, as reported, as expected, as reported, especially even while they're still playing. He has signed a 5-year contract, $25 million, nice easy math, $5 million a year with the Vegas Golden Knights. And we know how good of a goaltender Robin Lehner is. We know that he's bounced around with short-term 1-year contracts through a few teams recently. So I'm happy for him that he has some stability now in terms of a 5-year contract. He's a very good goalie. We saw that in the playoffs. And I think there's no argument that him and Jacob Markstrom were probably the 2 big fish when it came to goalies on the UFA market. You could argue guys like Braden Holtby and now Henrik Lundqvist maybe a tier below them, but certainly it was Robin Lehner and it was Jacob Markstrom. Despite him beating the Vancouver Canucks and playing so well against us, I really like Lehner as a goalie. I really like him as a person. Obviously, all the work he's done and all the how honest and forthcoming he's been with his struggles as well. So it's been really, really cool to see him succeed and to be rewarded with this 5-year, $25 million contract. So this has a very direct bearing on Jacob Markstrom and the Vancouver Canucks, because in essence, it sets the bar. It sets the bar. And really, it's nothing that we weren't expecting. We heard this rumor about 3 weeks ago already. And then we've always been talking about Markstrom maybe being worth or wanting a $5.56 million contract. Now, if you say that, he probably won't get any less than Lehner, because I don't think anyone would say that Lehner is better than Markstrom. They're at least equal, or Markstrom's a tiny bit better. But if you go with that Lehner and Markstrom are equal, then is that what Markstrom should be looking at now and be expecting, is a $5 million a year contract, depending on term, obviously, but using that as a baseline. Do you think if he thinks he's a bit better than Lehner, then maybe he's still going to angle for that $5.56 million a year? Again, depending on term. The shorter the term, the longer the higher the cap and the higher the salary likely, the longer the term, you can spread it out a bit more. So whether it's 3 years at 6 or 4 years at 5.5 or 5 years at 5, who knows what it's going to be? But I think it sets up an interesting comparable for Jacob Markstrom, comparable to Robin Lehner, given, like I said, the 2 big fish when it came to a UFA goalie. So Canucks fans, let me know what you think about that. Does this change anything for you in terms of value, whether it's what Vancouver and hopefully Jacob Markstrom are negotiating on, or whether that means that's what Markstrom's going to ask for, at least on the open market? Does it change anything for you, or just kind of reaffirm that you expected Jacob Markstrom to be somewhere between 5 and 6 and maybe in the $5.5-6 million range? So that's the first one. Robin Lehner, 5 years, $25 million with the Vegas Golden Knights. The second one, interesting, Tristan Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins signs a 3-year, $10.5 million extension. So that's 3 years, obviously, and each year is $3.5 million. And this is a brand new contract for him, so obviously take him through 2023. So this one's interesting because he's 25 years old, and you have Matt Murray, who's led or at least won 2 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have him as an RFA. He's only 26 years old. So Jerry's 25, Murray's 26. And if Tristan Jarry gets this 3-year deal, what does that mean for Matt Murray, who, like I said, is an RFA? So just like I've been saying, the Canucks RFA is Stetcher and Britannia. You don't have to decide right now. You do have to send him a qualifying offer at least by the end of this upcoming week to retain the rights to negotiate with him. But could that mean that Matt Murray will be on the move? Because what are you going to pay him? If you're already paying Jerry $3.5 million, you don't want to lock in Murray for like a $3, $4, or $5 million. That would be a lot of money in your goaltending. So that would be an interesting thing to watch as well. Again, Matt Murray, RFA, 26 years old, and maybe with this Jerry signing, it means that he'll be on his way out, and the Penguins don't even qualify him with an offer. And then he becomes a very attractive goalie on the UFA market as well, only 26 years old. Well, I think about this one, it's not so analogous to the Canuck situation, but again, it's a commitment to a younger goalie, although albeit by just 1 year, but it's not the best comparable to Demko Markstrom, so I'm not trying to make that comparable exactly. But again, it speaks to, do you invest in the younger goalie and how much do you give him? So Demko his current contract will expire at the end of next season. So you kind of got to already look ahead to that, anticipate that, expansion draft. But if Demko is your guy in the future, you start to think about that now, because that affects how you deal with Jacob Markstrom. Do you play a bit of hardball? Do you try and trade his rights to get something if you know he's going to walk? So I think that adds another wrinkle as well. So again, Tristan Jarry, $10.5 million, 3 years over for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then the third piece of goalie news, but really doesn't affect the Canucks, and I can't really draw any type of comparison to it, is Brian Elliott, 1 year contract extension, $1.5 million. Again, 1 year at 1.5 with the Philadelphia Flyers. Maybe the comparable you could draw is if the Canucks say bye to Markstrom, and if obviously they go with Demko as their bona fide number one for this upcoming season, what type of contract do you sign for a guy to back him up? You know, we've heard names like Lundqvist and Hudobin and Cam Talbot and Corey Crawford, but all those guys are going to want more than 1 year at 1.5. So can you go even cheaper and find a guy like Brian Elliott to come in for $1.52 million, help you out with the salary cap, but then are they providing enough goaltending backup and enough confidence in the nets for your young team? So very interesting. Three things. Robin Lehner, 5 years, $25 million with the Vegas Golden Knights. Tristan Jarry, 3 years, $10.5 million with Pittsburgh Penguins. Brian Elliott, 1 year, $1.5 million with the Philadelphia Flyers. What does it mean for the Canucks? Maybe nothing, but I think at least we can look at some comparables for Lehner now and then kind of draw a few parallels, or at least anticipate some decisions with Markstrom and Demko vis-a-vis Tristan Jarry and Matt Murray. So a couple of things to think about. I think it's kind of cool, and I think it's great that we're seeing some movement now. It makes sense because the draft is on Tuesday, Wednesday. Free agency opens on Friday. Buyout period ends on Thursday. I think qualifying offer period ends this week as well. So we're going to see a lot of things happening around the league. I think it feels like we're about to see some things happening with the Vancouver Canucks, and they may or may not even include Oliver Ekman-Larsson, as I spoke about at length in my vlog yesterday. So Canucks fans, let me know what you think. Oh yeah, by the way, today's Saturday. That means tomorrow Sunday. I will be doing my weekly Ask Me Anything tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about, maybe not in terms of the Canucks, but truly, ask me anything on this vlog. Put it in the comment section below. It can be Canucks related, NHL related, or not. I'd be happy to answer all your questions in tomorrow's vlog. So today, stay safe, stay healthy. Tomorrow, and today, ask me questions for my vlog for tomorrow. So leave a comment below. I guess the question of the day is, I guess the biggest one, the one that of these three goalies, the one that affects the Canucks the most is, what does it change at all for you? What Jacob Markstrom should be asking for, negotiating for in his negotiations with the Vancouver Canucks vis-a-vis Robin Lehner's $25 million contract over 5 years with Vegas. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and ask me a question for Ask Me Anything. God bless, and go Canucks go.